themselves separate from nature. Therefore, they're unconscious to the impacts that they have when they engage with the food system. So they're not aware that their choices in food production, purchasing, cooking have a direct impact on the environment in which they live, which has impacts on their health and well-being and those of many future generations as well.
Food miles, mass meat production,
In clean water, pesticide runoff,
Climate change, food security, pest and disease,
corporate dairy production, genetic modification, and all of these, quite big issues for our time, and just making simple choices about what sort of, food that we eat and bring to the table and how we share that with other people, I think has big power. When we talk to our grandparents and our grandparents' generations, growing your own food was normal, and we've become so detached from that as a normal practice. But I think there's huge opportunities to develop social movements and culture around making food exciting again and making food interesting and having that connection to food and being able to bring people together. I don't think that there's any environment where people can't grow some herbs in a pot on your balcony if you live in a high-rise or if you have a backyard. I think people are starting to see that as an interest and connecting to nature. But I think there's a reason to do it, and it almost needs to be seen as a responsibility. Somebody asked me the question the other day, what would I call local food? And my response is that if you can know your farmer, then I think the food is local. And the reason that local food is so important is to be able to remove all of the transportation costs in terms of the environmental costs of transportation, all of the cool storage, all of the fossil fuels that go into moving food from one place to another.
To minimise food waste, I guess, I'd definitely say organising food plans and creating shopping lists so that you're buying what you need depending on your living circumstances, whether you've got availability to have chooks. That's a great way to convert your food waste into eggs. Alternatively, worm farms, converting your food waste into fertiliser for your garden. Community composting systems that are starting up, so separating your food waste and looking at ways that can be picked up or consolidated with other people in your street. If we want to look at the true cost of organics versus chemical agriculture, the impact it has on animals, on waterways, on soil health, on future generations' availability to grow food. If we took into account all those costs, then the cost of chemical agriculture is extremely expensive. I think we need to be careful that we don't just look at cost as being financial, but also being on ecological and social. We can minimise our impact on the environment by being prepared to go shopping and bringing our own bags so that we're not using plastic bags or disposable bags. Look at which organisation you're shopping with. There's big corporations who don't take into consideration the environment with their sourcing of food, with the transportation, with the way they do business.
People are shifting their ideals and their interests. People are starting to make better choices, I think mostly because accessibility is improving. There's lots more farmers markets and sort of alternatives to the large supermarket chains and opportunities for people to access food in different ways. People are wanting to have a greater connection with their food, and I think that's because they want to have an idea of the cleanliness and the methods that the food is being produced, and making sure that it's without chemicals and all those sorts of things.
Where you look, it's there, it's happening, and by that nature, people don't want to be left behind. They want to be part of what's happening. Moving to the sustainable way of a food system operating.